Hey guys, first Guardsman here, and I'll be talking about every single heroic weapon in Space Marine 2 patch 12.0 and tier listing them. Now, this patch did give us 3 brand new heroic weapons. We have the new heroic combat knife Argent Edge, the new heroic Omnissian Axe Ultimate Ratio, and the new heroic heavy bolt rifle Death Watch. And on top of that, we also got some buffs to some existing heroic weapons, so some things have moved up a little bit. Some of these new options are absolutely top tier, and I'm going to be going over them all today, starting off with the primaries, or excuse me, the melee weapons into primaries, and then we're going to finish off with secondaries. So the first one up here is the Xenophase Blade. This got a 10% melee damage buff this patch to its base damage, and on top of that, the heroic perk effect is called Ancient Technology. You have wider cleaves on your power rakes, and you do 20% more damage with them. So that base damage increase on top of this heroic perk effect has helped out this weapon a ton. You actually hit better breakpoints now, and on the Techmarine, on the newly buffed Assault, this weapon feels pretty damn good. I mean, the Power Sword is kind of in danger of falling off in this game compared to other options, but overall, this might be my favorite Power Sword in the game currently, and I think it's a very strong option. The big benefit of the Ancient Technology perk here is that the wider angle on your power rakes allows you to hit things like Zoanthropes, Enlightened Zangors, and Neurothropes far more easily. It also just makes the horde clear on your power rakes way better. So I would say this one can firmly go into A tier. It's not quite at that S tier level, but I do think it's a very strong option currently, and you really can't go wrong with this one if you like the Power Sword. It also looks cool as shit, so that's a great reason to use it. Next one here is Kohler's Teeth. This is the heroic Chainsword. Just like the Xenophase Blade, this one got a 10% base damage increase. I would say this one's in a pretty decent spot at the moment. The heroic perk effect is called Fist Fight. You will get a 15% increase to melee damage on your heavy attacks, and on top of that, you're able to like combo skip into stomps, and that's a pretty fun thing to use, though I will say this one is far more gimmicky than the Xenophase Blade is, mainly because power rakes are what you do on the Power Sword all the time. Heavy attacks, you do a ton on the Chainsword, but you can already do that on the base versions like the Full Throttle Skip, and the base combo skip on this weapon is not even usable in this version, so I would say for that reason, it can probably go into B. It does do a lot of damage, especially if you take the Overcharge perk on Bulwark or Assault, like Arc Cleave if they had this on the Techmarine, but I would say it's definitely behind the Xenophase Blade at the moment, and while fun, it's definitely not like my favorite of all of them. Next weapon, however, is God tier. This is the brand new heroic combat knife Argent Edge. It has the heroic perk effect Scathing Retort that gives you damage on parries with a shorter parry window. And there's a hidden perk effect here that every single parry you do with this weapon will stagger the enemy, and that alone makes this like the best fencing weapon in the entire game. It is really insane how effective this weapon actually is. Being able to interrupt a Ravener triple combo, a melee Terminator combo, a Lictor combo that you normally couldn't in one blast, that is an incredible parry tool. This is an incredibly safe weapon for tactical, sniper, and the Techmarine. It just gives you so many free gun strikes. This one can easily go into S. Like, to be honest, even if this one like didn't do damage on parry, it would still be a top tier option. So definitely S tier. One of the best weapons in the entire game. If you haven't picked this one up, you definitely should. Next weapon here is Ultimate Ratio. This is the heroic Omnissian Axe. It is a fencing variant just like the Argent Edge. However, here the heroic perk effect just gives you more damage on your Omnissian Rush attack at the very end. That's like an okay effect, but to be honest, fencing Omnissian Axe aren't that good anyways. I would say this is like an okay version of the weapon. It's definitely better than like the base relic tier fencing option, but that being said, the base fencing option is the worst of all of the Omnissian Axe options in my opinion, so I would probably put this one into like B tier. If you want to do like an Omnissian Rush build, you could definitely use this. It does do quite a bit of damage. I just think it's like a little bit of a gimmicky effect and not remotely as strong as something like Argent Edge or the Xenophase Blade. Now, the next weapon here is also a God tier weapon. This is the Power Gladius we got in patch 11.0. It has the heroic perk effect called Agile Strike. You will get 120% bonus damage on your next attack after every perfect dodge, stacking up to 3 times. That perk effect also has a hidden perk effect where after the initial attack, you will have the damage bonus for a lingering 1 second, and because of that, this weapon is just incredible. You can one-shot bosses on tack, you can take out like 75% of their HP on a tactical ambush sniper build, and even on the Vanguard class that normally struggles with this a bit more, you can build for home reactions and stack up the damage bonus very easily. This is by far one of the strongest options in the entire game, and it's kind of funny, like both of the combat knives here are like the 2 best combat knife options for their respective defense type. Like Argent Edge is just the best fencing knife by by far, and this one is the best balanced option by far for the knife. So S tier for sure. Both of these are top tier weapons in the game overall, and not even just heroic options. Next weapon here is Storm's Dominion. This is the heroic Thunder Hammer with the heroic perk effect Electrified Thunderclap. It will give you a shock nade effect on every single aftershock slam. That is pretty decent, though the big problem I have with this weapon is that it is a fencing option for the Thunder Hammer, and unfortunately, the Thunder Hammer is all about damage, especially in patch 12 where the balanced version got buffed. Now the balanced and block version both hit like an absolute truck, and while shock grenade effects are pretty good in this game, and especially on the Bulwark class, you can build some like pretty cool stuff with that, with the shock and awe perk. It's just a bit of like a gimmicky effect. Fencing weapons on this weapon are just not that good in general, and for that reason, I probably would put it in B. It is a lot of fun. It's by no means bad. I do think it's definitely better on the Bulwark class and Assault, because Assault really only gets the shock nade effect on like the ground pound and the aftershock slams without any other benefits, and the Bulwark does have way more shock effects like emergency countermeasures, like shock and awe, or even like defensive advantage. So if you're taking this, I'd probably use it on Bulwark, but still, that being said, it's in B tier. The next weapon here is Death's Grasp. This is the heroic Power Fist with the heroic perk effect that gives you 200% bonus damage on light attacks with 50% less damage on your heavy attacks, and any execute on enemy will give you a gun strike opportunity on any Majoris enemy or above. That is a really powerful and really safe perk effect. Now, losing 50% damage on your heavy attacks does kind of suck, but 200% increased light damage is very substantial in this game. This is one of the best options for any gunstrike build on either the Bulwark or the Assault class, and it's probably the safest weapon in the entire game if you build like armor reinforcement. So for that reason, I would put this one in a very high A. I don't think it quite reaches like the absolute peak of Power Gladius and Argent Edge right now. Like, you definitely could put it up in S if you really wanted to, but I don't think it's like quite there. So I would put it in A. Though the light attack damage here and Wings of Flame opportunities are very strong, it's a great option. If you want to pick this one up, you really can't go wrong. Next weapon here is Deathwatch. This is the brand new heroic heavy bolt rifle, and this one just has an added grenade launcher. And guess what? Having a grenade launcher on a heavy bolt rifle option just makes it the best heavy bolt rifle option in the entire game. This one's damage is like barely lower than the other options, and even though you don't have like as much of an ammo reserve as some of the other heavy bolt rifle options, having a grenade launcher gives you so much utility on this gun. You get stagger, you get instantaneous CHP regen. If you take this on the tactical class and you put down a precise calibration, concentrate fire combo aspect scan, you will straight up like one-shot Majoris packs of this grenade, even like pretty much saving you a ton of ammo. And it's also the best weapon on Techmarine currently, so I would definitely put this one in the S tier. If you're taking a heavy bolt rifle, you just take this variant now, unless like you really want ammo or like a little bit more headshot damage. But overall, I think it's just the best and definitely belongs up here. Next weapon here is the Relic Battleworn Heavy Plasma. This weapon is the heroic Heavy Plasma variant with the Rapid Fire Plasma Hail perk that just makes it so your gun has a fully automatic variant instead of using charge shots. Now, this one cannot use charge shots at all, but the single target damage on those common shots while being rapid fired is incredible. The only downside I really think this weapon has is that number one, you don't get stagger, and I guess only two downsides it has. And number one, you don't get stagger, and number two, it is incredibly ammo inefficient because this gun is probably the most ammo hungry gun on all of Heavy, maybe the entire game potentially, because when you use this, you'll just run out if you are not careful. Every time I take this gun, I build for like full ammo on additional supplies and use strategic stand, because without that, you just run out in like 2 seconds. That being said, it's still very hard to go wrong with a heavy plasma option in Space Marine 2 because they all do ludicrous damage, and this one is no different. So for that reason, I am going to put it up in A tier, even though that ammo inefficiency definitely holds it back quite a bit. Now, the next weapon here is the Wrapped Instigator. This is an Instigator Carbine with a 5-round burst and a higher base damage than the other options. And just like the Deathwatch Rogue Heavy Bolt Rifle before it, this is just the best Instigator Bolt Carbine in the game, in my opinion. If you're using the Instigator, you just pick this one up. The only place that this weapon underperforms compared to the other options is at like long range, but long range is usually not where you take this weapon anyways. You're usually like fighting at medium to close range. On a Vanguard especially, or like a tactical ambush sniper build, you're just going to be point blanking guys all the time, and the DPS at close range of this option is incredible. So S tier for sure. one of the best heroic options, and if you're planning on using the Instigator, you just buy this one. Next weapon here is the Wrapped Bolt Sniper Rifle. This is the Heroic Bolt Sniper Rifle with the Heroic Perk Effect Replenishing Hit. Every single headshot you perform with this weapon will refund you a round straight to your magazine, and on top of that, you have a ×10 headshot multiplier on this gun. So if you do take this on the Sniper class with targeted shot for a 75% bonus range damage out of Cloak on your first shot, you will just one-shot like every Majoris in the game. And when I say one-shot, I mean their heads straight up explode. There is no execute animation, and on top of that, you'll one-shot most Extremis as well. Now, the only downside of this weapon is that any ammo restore perk like Versatile Precision in your Prestige perk tree, or ammo restore perks built into the weapon like Reloaded Restoration, do not function at all. So it is pretty high skill cap. If you miss your shots too much, you will just run out. Though they did make it so in this patch, headshots are easier to hit on Chaos with bolter weapons, so I would say this one's firmly in the S tier. It's just the best bolt sniper rifle because the damage this does is just ludicrous, even with that downside. So if you want to play the bolt sniper, you just pick this one up. The next weapon here is Chains of Duty, the Heroic Heavy Bolter. This one has the Heroic Perk Effect Reinforced Gun Casing. You get a 50% increased perfect parry window, and on top of that, you will get an entire cooldown on your weapon every single time you gun strike. Now, there's also a hidden perk effect here, or two I should say. Number one, this weapon gives you a fencing parry window instead of the base balance parry window of the heavy class, and on top of that, you will also have 0 startup time on your max fire rate with this weapon. All of the other heavy bolters have to like charge up their gunshots a little bit before they reach maximum fire rate. And this one just goes off rip, which means more damage and more CHP recovery. Now, having a fencing parry window in this game is already incredible for survivability against like frame traps and stuff like that, but having it on heavy, especially with a 50% increased perfect parry window, this is just the best heavy bolter in the game currently. The only real argument I could see for like a relic tier variant is like maybe the accuracy one because it's better at long range, but usually you are barrel stuffing with this gun or like using it at medium range, and to be honest, it's not that ammo inefficient, or I should say inaccurate anyways. It's also not very ammo inefficient, but it's definitely not that inaccurate. So I would put this one up firmly in the S tier as well, because just like the Wrapped Instigator Bolt Carbine, just like the Wrapped Bolt Sniper Rifle, just like the Deathwatch Rogue Heavy Bolt Rifle, it's the best option compared to its heroic tier variants, and there's like really no reason not to take this one, so definitely up in the S. Now, the next weapon here is definitely not up in the S. This is the Combi Melta gun. This is a heroic bolt rifle variant with a Melta rifle attachment. It's okay. You know, I would say this is probably the weakest of all the primary options in the game currently for heroic weapons. It's not like god awful. You can definitely use that. In fact, I think it's actually pretty good on some Techmarine builds and some tactical builds. The big issue here is compared to a grenade launcher attachment on the bolt rifle, compared to a grenade launcher attachment on the heavy bolt rifle, this one just does not come close. It's a bit more ammo efficient because you can get back all the Melta shots from an ammo cache, but you know what's better than getting all your shots back is killing the guys in one shot on Auspex, which definitely do, and the bolt rifle grenade launcher version can also do that. So I put this one in C tier. It's not god awful. It's pretty fun to use. It will definitely function. I'm just thinking if we compare this to other options, it's definitely in the bottom. Next weapon here is the heroic secondary bolt pistol on Honorific Relic tier. It has a 3-round burst on your bolt pistol. I think this one has definitely fallen off compared to where it was in patch 10, mainly because they buffed up the other bolt pistol options, and this one just did not receive those buffs. The only place I really like this gun is on the sniper class of the Pattern of Excellence perk, because the 3-round burst here does count for your consecutive executions that you need, or your consecutive headshots on that Pattern of Excellence Melta Bomb spam, and because of that, it's okay, but I definitely put it in like D or C. I'll put it in C just to be nice, you know, I mean, maybe I'll throw it in D. I'll put it in C just to be nice, because it's not like a god-awful weapon. I don't think any of these are like properly garbage here. It's just that it's definitely lagging behind the next secondary we'll get to, which is Retribution's Bequest, the heroic heavy bolt pistol. This one has the heroic perk effect, no help is coming. When you shoot an elite stream status enemy, they will stop calling for reinforcements, and if you headshot them, they will die in one shot. This one may not seem like it's that good initially, but when you actually play with it, you start to realize, like, wait a second, guys call in reinforcements all the damn time. And even though this one actually has like a lower base ammo reserve and magazine capacity, it has the highest gun strike damage in the game. And if you're able to one-shot a reinforcement calling enemy on like absolute or hard strats, Usually that's saving you not only a reinforcement call, but also an enrage, because in Space Marine 2, if you're playing like lethal and above or hard strats, enemies will pretty much always go in rage if you interrupt them during a reinforcement call. This one completely circumvents that. Definitely a top tier option. If it's not A, it's definitely S, but like personally I put it in S. Maybe some of the other options are a bit better. I don't think like it completely supersedes the other options, so I would put it in A. If you want to put it up here, you definitely can, because in my opinion, it's one of the best weapons in the game, and the only reason I'm not putting an S tier here is because I do think the relic tier variants for this weapon are still pretty good. And that's pretty much all there is for the heroic weapons in Space Marine 2 patch 12. I think that the weapons in this game are in a pretty good spot currently. Heroic weapons, you really can't go wrong with them. I mean, even if you buy the Combi Melta first, you're probably gonna have a fun time. But let me know where you would place the heroic weapons in this game. I think most people are a huge fan of Argent Edge, the Power Gladius. I know the heavy bolt rifle is a very popular weapon in this game anyway, so I'm sure a lot of people are happy to have like a grenade launcher version of that. But let me know in the comments below, and if you like content like this, subscribe for more. And as always, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Bye.